So we're gonna be doing color now, and for these colors we're gonna predominantly start with his jacket. We're gonna do it in the same way I did the previous jam colors for the most part, just grabbing colors from my palette over here that are more or less what the colors are in the character. And we're going to go in and do them as an overlay, and then we're going to go in with light on top of that and do the light on top of that. When all this is done, I may do a compositional change on this, specifically with the sword. I think I might bring it down here, or maybe bend it, or just change its position a little more than what it is right now. The sword is kind of, I don't know, it's just out of place to me. Or I could leave it what it is. Like I said, it's a maybe change to the composition of the page, but I am gonna do a background on this. I'm gonna do that Esco idea I had, and I mentioned, I believe it would be two videos now ago. Or 2 videos ago now. I am really tired. I just had a very tiring day. So I don't know how much I'm going to talk, and I don't exactly know what I'm going to talk about. I mean, that's usually the case, but today especially, I just have no clue what's going to come out of my mouth. If anything, because, like I said, I'm pretty tired. So if I don't say anything, just sit back and enjoy the very soft sounds of my Wacom pen moving across the Cintiq. I do know one thing. One thing I did want to mention, because it's in the same thread as what I was talking about previous video, and I think it's going to be my next. If you can guess this, then you get to pick what I draw next. And it's a quote. It's a quote from a novel that goes, "The 4 points of the compass." It's a wait, first. It's going to be a part of a quote and part paraphrasing. It goes like this. "The 4 points of the compass are logic, knowledge, wisdom, and the unknown. People that bow to the last lose sight of the others. I may delve into the unknown, but I will not be swayed by the unknowable. The people that delve in it, that worship the unknown, the people that worship the unknown are saints or fools, and I have time for neither." That quote, it's a really awesome quote by a really awesome character, one of my favorite characters ever, and one of my favorite quotes ever, from one of my favorite books ever. And that quote has pretty much become a guideline for how I view the world. And if you can guess the book, I mean, I'd say guess the character, but the book is a little more on the obscure side of things. So really, I'll just say guess the book that's from. And if you can guess the book, you get to request what I draw next. And if you guess the book and tell me the character, you can definitely tell me what to draw next. I mean, really, that's a total pretense, though, because you can just Google. You probably just Google the 4 points of the compass part of the quote. I mean, not to tell anyone exactly how to beat this, but a trivia way to do it would just be to to guess the answer and tell me. But you could probably just Google the compass point part of the quote and get the answer from that. And I bring that up because it does kind of harken to what I was saying before about ghosts and being highly skeptical about things like ghosts and aliens on Earth. Now I'm going to say I think aliens without a doubt exist in the universe. The chemistry for the human body is just so common and the elements of it are so just common that I can't see life, and specifically intelligent life, arising elsewhere in the universe. I just think it's such a long distance between planets, between just locations, that it's going to be essentially impossible to visit other planets within like reasonable amounts of time, unless there is some, and I think this is possibly going to be a thing that's discovered in at least our lifetimes, cheating the speed of light. Like, you can't beat the speed of light, but you could possibly cheat it, and I think cheating it may be the way to go. Yeah, Zappa's ghosts are kind of purpley, so I'm going to put some purples in the ghosts, but they're mostly going to be white still. And Dog, the only thing about Dog is he's got red eyes. You know what, that looks really terrible. This is going to be the one of the few times I actually do the blurry brush. Like, I mean, I did them on the ghost, did the blurry brush on the ghost a lot, but yeah, we're definitely going to do it there. So I think that's all of our flats we actually need. Oh wait, his tongue. Do red on the tongue. I think just the entire interior of his mouth should be reddened. Oh, and we need these buckles are like neon green in the design, but I'm just gonna treat them as just green. Because like I said, I think, but don't quote me on this, I think they're actually supposed to be like light up parts of the game. Yeah, the other thing is I think I want something in the background to tie it all together and to hold it all together. And that's where like getting Esco into the background's gonna be a thing. I still think I did a bad on the ghosts. Just in the way they're created is just the absolute like creepiest thing. Just the like black glow around the mouths and eyes. And I think I can actually leave them predominantly white. The big thing here is these are going to be... We're going to start with the bangles by just putting down the green they're going to be. Actually, let's do that in the overlay layer, just to get the green in there. Because I'm actually going to be doing this as a couple layers. We're just starting the green into this. Because there's such a predominant feature, and there's such a predominant... we'll start with the green. It looks like a darker green to just begin this. There's such a predominant feature that they should just have the green from the start, and we're gonna be doing them as we're just gonna totally blow them out. Like NTSC would probably have a problem with the glow on these, but we're gonna start with a very big blowout. And then we're gonna actually, I think we should just hit this with the white, and we should be fine on getting like their center glowingness. Yeah, I think that'll work for now. And then I'm actually going to go back into this color dodge layer. No, wait. I don't want to go too overboard on the glowy brushness, but I think it's gonna have to be a little bit like that. We're definitely gonna have to use bright green on this. Now, I'm actually gonna put this underneath the bangle. So this is a good example of actually utilizing layers as layers. Now, because it's such a predominant, what I was trying to say is it's such a predominant green glow that I think we need to do it first. And it's going to be a prevailing light source on at least this side of his body. Like I think it's actually going to be going up his arm a little bit as well. I think it's definitely going to be on the seam a lot, but I think even like the back, this is gonna be everywhere. This green is gonna be kind of an obnoxious almost light source because it's just everywhere on this side. And we're gonna predominantly be doing the green over here because it's such, like, the green is so prominent as this that I think it's gonna be the predominant, like, light source 1 is gonna be that. And we're actually gonna use it a bit as like a reflected light over here as well. Now the opposite to this green is this orange, but I'm actually going to darken it from what its standard orangeness provides on the palette. And I may actually go another level dark on it because I'm doing the complement as the shadow. Because when you do light, that's what happens with light is kind of wish I did that on another layer now, actually, because I think we're gonna have to do it. I don't want to have to switch it to multiply, but I think I might have to switch it to multiply because we want to darken in with this. But that's what happens with light, is you end up, whatever your light is, your complement is going to be your shadow. So if you have, that's why I usually go towards a, it's just not working on the stockings, I guess. So let's switch it back to normal, do a new layer, switch the layer to multiply and try this. But I just want the brown in there. It doesn't have to be super dominant, but I would really prefer just having the brown in there. And I can actually just pull the green out from that. Oh yeah, that is one of the green buckles. We can just green that all up. Now it's such a predominant green that it's actually going to override some of the local color here as well. Which is why, like on his butt, I would normally do that as a skin tone, but I think I'm just going to green it out because it's green. And that'll make it... that'll make it all the more in line with what I've got here. So, the shadows here, I'm going to go in with the brown first. But the ghost light is actually going to be in this blue. So I'm actually kind of fine with using this brown as my shadow color over here. The ghost light is actually going to be a harder highlight. So you're still going to see a lot of the orange in through his pants. It's just the we're going to add some wrinkles in here anyways. Just to add a little more shaped. Well, the pants are kind of, they look like they're kind of a khaki or a denim, and generally a khaki or a denim is going to be like more rigid in its folding. That's why I'm not doing like super amounts of folds in the pants, especially on this part, because it looks like it's just it's sort of detached from everything else. So I'm going to keep it detached like that. So anyways, yeah, aliens, I think aliens exist. They're definitely not on Earth, though, because just the distances seem too far, and there's sort of like a level of technology that, in my opinion, not a lot of civilizations are going to reach. Or if they reach it, they destroy themselves. Sort of the Fermi paradox situation happening. So our ghost light, we're just gonna grab that color, start a new layer regardless of where the layer is. And I think this is gonna look weird, but we're gonna do this. We're just gonna throw the purple down. I think things should be very purple. Because with this, we're actually going to try, this layer, we're going to try some blending modes out to see if we can get it to, so my first inclination is to do that. Let's see what overlay looks like. Color, soft light. Duplicate it. Color, overlay, 3. Okay. And we do another new layer. So now that we've got that in there, I'm gonna go in a much lighter purple. I want to get the base of the purple in there before I actually went in there with a lighter purple. Really, I think I should have just started with this because I'm just painting over it. But I experiment around sometimes. Now I'm doing the purple first, and the ghost light, I actually want it to be predominantly white. But I want to get a little color into it first before I go back and go back into it. Take and just shape that out with the gray as well. I just want to establish with the purple first, and then I'll go in and with a white. So here's a debate for this piece. do I go in with do I go in and make Zappa's skin tone very lively? Because I would definitely consider doing it for any other character. I'd absolutely go in there with like the reds that I did with Jams and really try to liven up the skin tone. But for Zappa here, I'm wondering if I should go in and actually not do that, because he's, you know, a ghost boy basically. If I should go in with just a white, just a dead white, or even like this deader like peach color. I mean, the browns I'm using are a little lively. Just, I mean, they're part of my skin tone palettes. But yeah, I'm actually gonna do that. I'm not actually gonna go in and put a lot of red into his features. Any warmth is gonna come from these browns, but for the most part, it's gonna be more dead than anything. That being said, we are going to take this yellow. We're going to do our, like, what I consider my standard lighting thing, which is using a yellowish highlight. Not highlight. Just yellowish light on the light side, and then a purple for the dark. Yeah, I am absolutely skeptical when people, even just people, tell me things casually. Like, unless it's something I definitely know, I'll sit there and doubt that. And it's led to some interesting choices in life that I don't necessarily want to go into at this moment. But It's definitely led to me making interesting choices, specifically with politics. But like I said, I don't want to go into politics just quite yet on this in these videos. I mean, I'll go into it a little, but not in any appreciable detail. Yeah, and even though we're just going to put a little bit of that purple in there, I'm going to grab this and we're going to darken that way down, because I do want to make those pants just darkened up quite a bit because of both of my lights are using a yellowish orange as the predominant shadow, so we're going to get this weird mix of these two in the shadows here. And I actually think we're going to have to grab the green again, because I think this would be going up his arm a bit more. And I actually missed the piece where I could use the ghost light, which is right here. And actually we'll put just the slightest bit of the purple highlight on this side. Just a little tap of the purple in here. But it's sort of a rule for me to evaluate evidence before I make decisions on things. I mean, obviously not in every single aspect of life. I'm not going to sit there and ask for evidence at like a restaurant to which dish is the best, and then follow that evidence where it may. I would definitely say that's not, I'm not that neurotic with it, but yeah, I definitely seek evidence first before making decisions about things. And I doubt a lot of stuff that people would say, especially on the internet, because people just make up things or just say dumb, really dumb things that you have to absolutely take at a grain of salt. Or even they're not necessarily dumb, but they're extremely loaded. They're extremely like bullshitty, where they won't tell you exactly what they mean. Or actually, that's a good example. Bullshit's a good example of something I always look for. And like whenever someone uses it, it's usually a red flag that they're not what they seem, or they're not worth listening to. Now, Dog is not going to be lit at all, because Dog is a ghost. He's a ghost made of dark. Just like the ghosts in the background. And actually, Sword, I probably shouldn't even did the tone on, but Sword is more solid than Dog and Ghosts. Because, oh, I see a place I still need to put some of the yellow on, because his hair would still reflect. We're actually going to grab just a touch of this green. But yeah, bullshit is something that I try to detect as best I can. And actually, we'll just do the slight hints of ghost light on his hair that peeks around his hat. Now we'll just grab black and do a once over on his hair. Yeah, here's something I try to not make as strokey. I mean, that's pretty heavy on the strokes, but I think it'll be fine. Okay, I think I've done the coloring. Barring seeing like a little error here or there. I'd probably say I've hit that point where I consider it done for the most part. Let's just paint some green on here, because the green would definitely overpower the ghost light that's right in that general area. Ghosts don't have any light on them because they're ghosts. So next up, I'm going to be drawing in the background, but I have to cut this out first, and I'm gonna spare everyone watching that because it's gonna be kind of boring, and I actually need my hand to do it as quick as possible where my microphone is sitting, and I just realized my microphone is half covered by my Cintiq. Oh, I hope the audio is fine. So anyways, I will be back after a cut. It's a cut for you guys, but it's probably like 15 minutes of work for me. So I'll see you after the cut with everything cut out with the pen tool. Okay, so what we've got going on here is we've got our stuff cut out, and I've got a couple layers. I have the glows, and I have the let me start that again. So I have a couple layers. The first one is just Zappa with everything sort of in here, with the glows sort of in the gray still. And then I have just the glows on their own layer. And then I have everything cut down a lot. And I'm going to work on this layer predominantly. And I think we've got a pretty okay pen tool going. Pen tool cutout going. But we are going to fill it back up with the 50% gray. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the background in, and then I'm gonna work on getting the glows to work in the background. Now, like I said, I wanted to do something very, very quick with Esco, and I kind of want it to be... Oh, I didn't cut Sword out. My mistake. I'll put Sword in a second. I wanted to kind of have, like this Esco thing in the background going on. And like this is her hair. It's gonna mostly be hair, I think. But it's gonna be very abstract as well. Like you don't quite exactly know it's her in the background. I wonder if I can get her shoulder, if I should have her shoulders in here, like have it be, that's her collarbone. No, let's go with that first idea. So the first idea, we can actually turn Axel off, or Axel. Wow, did I ever get that wrong? Come on, Photoshop. You know, actually, I think it's because it's Esco Axel. It kind of has a bit of a rhyme there. But actually, in the lore, there's a rumor that Esco, the ghost that haunts Zappa, the sort of ring imitation ghost, is actually Axel's girlfriend from when he was in our time. You know, before he fell into the time loop or whatever. Because it's canon that Raven, you know, that man's assistant with the horn through his head, is actually Axel in an alternate timeline. So it could be that you know, Esco really is Axel's girlfriend from our time, and she's just extremely spiteful because he just up and vanished on her. You know, for her, we're just gonna do some simple tones, to sort of put down what her appearance is. And her skin is actually very, very purple in this artwork. I don't know how much of that's actually going to be in there, because her face is supposed to be really, really covered up. So we're going to actually leave it pretty covered up. Her face and skin. Like, I almost don't even want it to read as her in the background. I almost want it to read as random shapes. Which is also why I'm going to play it pretty fast and loose on everything back here. I'm obviously going to tone it all back as well, but we're gonna do some back and forth on this hair to work it in. Guilty Gear's lore is... it's insane how deep the lore goes for a fighting game. Because if you look at like Street Fighter, it's like Ryu is a martial artist, and he wants to martial art all over the bad guy, and he does. Hooray! He won. He martial arted the best, and it's like that's basically Street Fighter. And then I mean, I know there's more going on, but let's face it, that's Street Fighter. You look at King of Fighters, and it's like, oh, Kyoku-san. There's actually a lot in King of Fighters that goes on, because there's a lot of background from Art of Fighting, which actually is basically Street Fighter, and Fatal Fury, which kind of had the Street Fighter thing too, where it's like, oh, there's a tournament and people enter, but there's a lot going on with like Terry Bogard's father being killed by Geese, and Geese is the one running the tournament to find a new bodyguard, which is not how you would really hire a new bodyguard, in all honesty. I mean, imagine that hiring process. How hard can you punch a guy? No, really, I want to know, how hard can you punch a guy? Can you knock him in the air 30 feet? Good, good. You may have bodyguard potential. But can you twirl around this stick like my other bodyguard? But, yeah, there's, like, Mortal Kombat has a lot, too. But all of these games, like, compared to Guilty Gear, just pale in comparison to the amount of lore Guilty Gear has. Like, I think Blaze Blue, obviously enough, and kind of predictably enough, kind of meets that, but man, does Guilty Gear ever have a crap ton of lore. Doug is getting a little lost in there. But you know what? I think that'll be fine. I think that'll actually be fine. Because we're going to do... We're probably going to do this. Anyways, yeah, there's just so just... Wait, I want to work on the blurs first on these guys. There's just so much in Guilty Gear. It's kind of just bonkers. Like that, I'm hazarding to find the word, and the word that comes up for me is just bonkers. How much crap Guilty Gear has in its lore. And like it even gets like into the... It even gets into like the arcade game, because the arcade game's intro has all of the stuff related to like the backyard and that man, and all of that is like baked into the game. It's like it's a part of the game. It's not just some like, oh, they're in the manual type of thing. If I can reference TV tropes. I mean, hell, Soul being a gear. Spoiler alert. Soul being a gear at the end of Guilty Gear 1 was at the end of Guilty Gear 1. It's like that was a thing in the game that was actually in the game, that Soul is a gear. It's just like, talk about attention to detail. Yeah, I think I'll do that. The same thing I've been doing, I think I'm going to do with Dog as well. Just the slightest fuzz of gray on his back to just add that blur to him. Okay, we're almost there. We are in the home stretch, and we are at the 40-ish minute mark, if my math is oh, Photoshop. Photoshop. Oh, don't give me a heart attack like that. Control S. So I am actually going to put these. Let's see what they look like at 100%. Let's do 50 and 50. And I'm actually going to duplicate them, put them on top. No, I think they take away a little too much when they're above. So we'll trash that. But I do want to jump them up to like 70, I think, just to keep the background in the back. So little things I want to take care of. We're going to duplicate that, have a spare. First things first is I actually want to use a tool that is very seldom used. The blur tool. Now actually I'm gonna good on that. I think we're good on that. Actually, it's not working how I want. So screw the blur tool. I did apply the layer mask still because we want to do something here. I think we just use that Gaussian blur. Yeah, we want to use that Gaussian blur. So this Gaussian blur is only going to apply to his hand and to dog. Oh, I forgot. I need to put. I need to go cut sword out, don't I? So we're actually going to fill that with black. And keep this one on. And we're going to... I actually want dog's paw to get really blurred out down here. Am I not getting... Oh, I'm still on the blur tool. Whoops. Okay, I actually want dog's paw nice and blurred out because it's really bugging me that it's something that's kind of supposed to be far away and it's in focus. But I want his head. Oh, I missed a little bit on the blur that's right here. Okay, there we go. Now I am actually going to apply it to we're going to do our pseudo camera blur on his faraway foot just to really sink it into the background, and his faraway hand. So I really want it to look like it's far away, and it's I'm gonna do this is all like cleanup work I wanted to do. Trying to add that depth of field. Probably get away with a little bit of that on his leg, on this leg as well. Oh no, wait, it's messed off still. I wanted to gray out dog a little bit there to differentiate it a little from his back, from the top of his hat. Though actually, here, I know what I can do for that. Let's just trash that. I'm gonna grab this little bit of white and just we're actually gonna put a line, a better line. We're gonna grab the white. We're literally lining off the dog from the rest of Axel here. I did it again! Horrible at this! Oh, I just also realized my microphone's seriously out of place. Sorry, everyone. My microphone might have just been a little... what I just said for the past 10 minutes might be a little soft. Sorry about that. Talk about being horrible at this. I noticed my microphone is really misplaced. Okay, so I have to grab sword real quick. Because, no. And everything to ESCO should be... There we go. So, I think I can do this pen tooling really quick just right now. I tend to do my pen tool stuff clockwise. Which is why I just was like, oops. When I started up here, I hesitated for a second because I almost went down that way, and I was like, oh no, I shouldn't do that. It'll throw... I'm not joking on this. If I had started pen tooling on that side, it would have really thrown me off as to what I normally do with this tool. Now we're actually just going to go like that, that, and that, and then it's sort of going to be weird right here. Let's redo. I want to do this all as one like Bezier curve. I think there's a $10 artwork for you. That only really I think started appearing in artistic lexicons. What am I doing? I don't want to do that yet. We're gonna be doing this in two paths, I think. See, sword is weird in that it has holes in it, and you may not think that a big thing, but while you're drawing it, it means, and because they're in the thick part of the blade, they actually don't line up properly, and it's one of the things that was driving me nuts the entire time I was doing this. And it's probably the weakest, in my opinion, it's the weakest technical part of this drawing. Like, whatever color I may get wrong, whatever color theory I may present wrong, the goddamn holes in this sword. Like, if I could have actually spent a couple, probably hours, in all honesty, getting the damn sword, whoops, getting the damn sword. That's not... Okay, let's just do it as that. Getting that damn sword right probably would have taken me hours to just have the sword look right. Just specifically these three holes, and it's like they're gonna not look right. I can already tell you they're all janky and woobly and wobbly. So that blur we just did. Layer via copy. Grab that. Apply that. That blur we just did. Apply layer mask. Control F. We're just gonna put it on the sword because he's really disconnected. And wait a second. Did I turn on a thing I didn't mean to turn on? No, that should be on. That should be on. There we go. Because sword, I just don't. You know, I don't like the way it looks like that either. So this is gonna drive me up and down the damn wall. Just how bad the sword looks. And it's not as easy as just running in and just changing it a lot, because wait, that's blurring. Layer mask. Apply layer mask. Sword would just require a lot of work to get technically correct. So we're just gonna hit it with a little blur then. And I did think compositionally of moving it like down here maybe, or actually changing it entirely. And I think if I were to go back into this, it would be a thing I really work on. Excuse me, really work on changing. So the final thing we're gonna do is we are gonna hit this with some curves, because one thing I do a lot, just on pretty much every drawing, is I tend to try to jack it up a bit, because I really want to push the colors up and down a lot to get them looking much more vibrant. Like, I'm even gonna go in here and just, not a lot, just a little saturation. Now we're gonna do, I don't need a gradient, I need a gradient map. This is sort of a thing I do pretty much with everything, because this part of it gives you a good check on whether your tones are pretty readable after all your adjustments, and B, we can really get a layer of color that will bring everything together. That's sort of dynamic in the way it applies color. And I think that'll do it for our Zappa drawing. I'm looking at it now, and I don't think there's anything that needs a lot of adjusting. So that'll do it for Zappa. I hope the Orange Coco enjoyed these videos, because he chose Zappa, and I hope he likes the drawing that got produced from it. And I hope everyone else also enjoyed these videos and enjoys the drawing that got produced from it. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you guys next time. Oh, and don't forget that quote I mentioned beginning of the video. If you can tell me what book it's from, I'll let you choose what I draw next. And if you tell me the character, I'll let you choose more what to draw next, or whatever. But thanks for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time.